Hey everyone, welcome back to our A to Z stock analysis series where we break down different companies in the stock market every week. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the VI, which is one of the India's biggest telecom company. If you are curious about what makes the company tick and how the industry works, you are at the right place. Let's get started. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of our easy to follow stock breakdowns. Vodafone Idea, which is also known as VI, is formed by two big groups, Aditya Birla Group and Vodafone Group. It is the India's third largest telecom service provider. But VI is not just about phone calls and internet browsing. They also offer a bunch of other services like messaging, digital services, IoT solutions. Pretty cool, right? Let's talk numbers for a second. As of March 31st, 2024, VI has a market share of 20.7% of India's mobile subscribers according to the report released by TRAI. VI 4G network covers across 100 billion people across India, and they are not stopping there. VI is focusing on a digital first approach, meaning they are making all their customer services available online. They have even launched something called VI One, which bundles broadband, mobile and streaming services all into one plan. Now before we dive deeper, let's remember something which Warren Buffett said. Never invest in a business that you don't understand. That's why we are here to help you understand everything that you need to know about the telecom industry and how the company performs and the key terminologies that are important in the telecom industry. Let's start with spectrum. This might sound technical, but it's really just the range of radio waves used for communication, like making calls or using the internet. Think of spectrum as the airspace that mobile signals travel through. It's a limited resource, so companies have to manage it very efficiently in order to provide smooth services. There are different parts of spectrums and they are used for different things. Low frequency bands are great for covering large areas and getting signals into the buildings. Other bands are used to connect more people at faster speeds, so when you are enjoying fast 4G speeds or great indoor coverage, that's all thanks to how spectrum is managed. Now let's talk about teledensity. It simply means that the number of phone connections for every 100 people in a region. For example, if a country has a teledensity of 80, it means that there are 80 people who have connections out of every 100 people. It's a good way to measure how connected are people in that area. Another important term is churn rate. It is the percentage of people who leave a telecom service over a period. Companies want low churn rate because it indicates how companies are keeping their customers happy. Then there is BTS, which stands for Base Transceiver Station. This is the equipment that lets your phone connect to the mobile network. It is what keeps you connected when you make a call or use the internet, no matter where you are. Finally, let's talk about FWA, Fixed Wireless Access. This is a way to get internet to people using wireless signals instead of cables. It's especially useful in areas where it's hard to install traditional internet lines. Alright, now we have covered some key telecom terms. Now let's zoom out and focus on the telecom industry. First things first, did you know that India is the second largest wireless market in the world? That's right. As of March 2024, the total number of wireless subscribers in India reached a staggering 1,165 million. Just in the last financial year, the industry added 21.6 million subscribers, growing by around 2%. And when we talk about teledensity, India has seen a slight increase from 82.5% in 2023 to 83.3% in 2024. While it is a good sign, it is still lower than the global averages. So there is definitely a room for growth. But it's not just about phone connections. India is also the world's second largest market for wireless internet subscribers. In fact, the number of people using wireless internet in India has grown at an incredible rate of over 10% each year over the last 5 years, reaching 884 million subscribers by FY24. Now let's talk about data usage in India. From December 2018 to December 2023, the total wireless data usage in India grew by 3.5 times, and the average data usage per subscriber per month jumped from 8.74 GB in 2018 to a 19.47 GB in 2023. That's more than double in just 5 years. But before we get into the Vodafone Idea specifics, we need to talk about a crucial aspect of the telecom industry, that is spectrum auctions. A spectrum auction is the process where government auctions the rights to transmit signals over a specific band of electromagnetic spectrum, which is essential for various telecom service providers to provide services like mobile voice, data and the internet. The government manages this finite public resource similar to water, air or land through regulatory bodies like DOT, which is known as Department of Telecommunications, and the TRAI, which is known as Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. These agencies ensure that the spectrum is efficiently allocated and efficiently used, and it also ensures that it is efficiently managed in order to provide hassle-free services for the telecom users. As we are discussing what a spectrum auction is, let's also discuss how the government sells the spectrum. Do you know how spectrum auctions are conducted? There is a simple 5-step process that happens in the process of selling spectrum. First, determining spectrum availability. Second, setting reserve prices. Third, auction process. Fourth, payment and allocation. And fifth, the last step is usage and compliance. The government first identifies the availability of the spectrum that is remaining to be sold. That includes the leftover spectrum in the last auction and the new spectrum that is available for the next auction. Then the government sets the price for the spectrum. It depends on the various factors, and the decision is made by the experts and the stakeholders of the telecom industry. And then government invites the bids from the telecom industry players. Whoever bids the highest will get the spectrum license, and they can be used for 10 to 20 years depending on the services they are getting. The winners of the spectrum auction can pay the bid amount in installments, or they can pay in the lump sum as well. The companies that win the spectrum use it to provide services like mobile phones and internet access. They must follow certain rules and meet the specific standards set by the government. To get a clear idea about the spectrum auction, let's get into some real-time data. In July 2022, an auction was conducted for spectrum in the various bands that includes 600 MHz, 700 MHz, 800, 900, 1800, 2100, 2300, 2500, 3300, and 26 GHz bands. A total of 72,097.85 MHz spectrum in different band LSA combinations worth 4,31,605 crores were made available for bidding. A quantum of 51,236.2 MHz worth 1,50,173.3 crores was sold in that auction. However, no bids were received in the 600 MHz and 2300 MHz. As we covered various terms, industry aspects, and spectrum auction, it's time for us to get into the actuals of the Vodafone Idea. Let's focus on the strengths of the company first. The first strength of the company is competitive spectrum profile. Vodafone Idea currently holds a total of 8,030 MHz of spectrum across various frequency bands, including spectrum acquired in the June 2024 auction. Of this, 8,012.8 MHz is liberalized, allowing the company to deploy any technology in these spectrum ranges. Recently, the company acquired sub-gigahertz spectrum in 7 circles that includes Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh and Kolkata. Additionally, the company has secured 1800 MHz spectrum in Madhya Pradesh and 2500 MHz spectrum in Bihar to increase network capacity swiftly. Now let's discuss the second strength of the company, which is FPO. Vodafone Idea has launched 18,000 crore FPO in the month of April 2024. The main objectives of the FPO are as follows. First one, debt reduction. A significant portion of the proceeds might be allocated towards reducing the company's debt, improving its financial health and profitability. Moving to the second objective, which is network upgradation. The FPO could fund network modernization and expansion, allowing VI to compete effectively in the growing 4G and 5G markets. And the third important objective of the FPO is operational improvements. The capital raised might be used to streamline operations, improve customer service, and potentially lower operational costs. As we discuss these trends, it is time for us to focus on the risks of the company. First one, decline in subscriber base. The subscriber base of Vodafone Idea, according to its recent released annual report, is 219.8 million customers, and it also signifies a market share of 18.9%. The VI has mentioned it as a large customer base, but it is a risky factor. Why? Well, if we look at the annual report of one particular year, it seems to be a positive for the company. But if we consider the annual reports of the past 5 years, it seems to be risky. Let me explain it very clearly. In FY20 annual report, the overall subscriber base stood at 293.7 million, which signified a market share of 29.7%. As per the FY21 report, the subscriber base decreased to 255.7 million and a market share of 25.7% from the highs of 2020. So it clearly signifies how it is losing its market share. So this is why it is very important for us to analyze multiple years of annual reports in order to draw any conclusion while making any investments. The second important risk of the company is strong competition. In September 2016, the market witnessed the disruptive entry of Reliance Jio in voice and data services using 4G technology. Data prices saw an immediate decline from 180 rupees per GB in September 2016 to 160 rupees per GB in December 2016, and a secular decline to 6.98 rupees per GB in 2019. While growth has been robust, price competition has squeezed the bottom line for incumbent operators. To lower the cost and improve the efficiency, Vodafone Idea formed as an entity. Moving to the third risk of the company, which is huge investments. Telecom industry is a capital-intensive industry. But why? Telecom players require substantial capital to purchase the spectrum through government auctions, establish and maintain the network and infrastructure. The industry spent nearly 1,500 billion rupees during the 5G auction 2022. Not just that, Indian telecom players have spent nearly 3,000 billion rupees in in order to acquire spectrum since 2014. The telecom sector has a low average asset turnover ratio of 0.3 times, indicating high capex requirements on a sustained basis. Capex intensity is high and estimated at nearly 30% of the total revenue in fiscal year 2023, and it is going to increase to 25% in 2024 and 2025. High cost of spectrum acquisition and the demands of network upgrade had increased the industry debt burden. Moving to the fourth risk of the company, which is AGR issues. Vodafone Idea has challenged DOT calculations of adjusted gross revenue dues, claiming that DOT made errors and that Vodafone Idea was not given a hearing before the penalty was imposed. As of February 2024, Vodafone Idea had a debt of over 2 lakh crores, with 97% of that owed to the government for AGR and deferred spectrum payment. And moving to the last risk of the company, which is payment dues. In June 2024, Vodafone Group sold nearly 18% of its stake in Indus Towers to Bharti Airtel for 1.7 billion euros, which is equal to 15,300 crores, to repay a loan. The sale was prompted by the pressures from lenders including BNP Paribas, HSBC, and Bank of America, who demanded the full repayment and rejected refinancing efforts. And now it is time for us to focus on the financials of the company. Vodafone Idea appears to be a company struggling to maintain a stable financial footing. The fluctuations in the sales and OPM suggest that an unstable business environment and a weak market positioning. The net losses over the years are alarming, and the company has not been able to turn its business around effectively. To turn the business around, VA might need to undertake significant strategic reforms such as restructuring debt, focusing on core profitable segments, or finding new revenue streams. Without these changes, the company might continue to struggle with profitability. Moving to the shareholding pattern of the company. The promoter stake has seen a significant decline from 71.33% in March 2019 to 37.18% in July 2024. This steady reduction suggests that the promoters have been offering their shares likely to raise capital and due to financial pressures. The government stake in VI reached to 33.18% because Vodafone Idea approved the allotment of equity shares worth 16,133 crores to the government, which post-allocation has become the largest shareholder in 2023. The shares have been allocated to the government because of the conversion of interest dues to the equity shares arising from deferment of adjusted gross revenues and spectrum auction payments as per the company. By July 2024, the government stake had reduced slightly to 23.8% because of the FPO. The FII's participation has increased over the period, and during the FPO, they showed huge interest and increased their stakes, and in VI, the stake rose up to 12.78%. Every company has its own strengths and risks, but it is very important for us to focus on the growth triggers because growth triggers are something which will help in the company to survive in the future. So let's focus on the growth triggers. First growth trigger, low ARPU of the industry. Do you know what is the ARPU? ARPU stands for average revenue per user. It is very important. Let's see how it plays a crucial role in the telecom industry. ARPU, or average revenue per user, is a key metric for the telecom industry. It is very important for the finances of the company as it decides and impacts the overall finances of the company. The higher the ARPU, the better are the margins and it will impact the profitability. Higher ARPU is good for telecom companies in order to sustain in this capital intensive industry. In 1999, the telecom industry's ARPU was 1319 rupees and it gradually reduced to 205 rupees by 2009. But surprisingly, with the entry of Jio, the ARPU fell drastically to 74.8 rupees in 2019. It actually reduced the overall revenues of the company and it make really hard for the companies to sustain in that particular industry. Even after the telecom companies' recent hike in their pricing plans, India remains the cheapest internet provider compared to the other economies. These hikes will gradually increase the ARPU of the industry, which is a positive factor for the Vodafone Idea as well. In the last financial year, the ARPU was 182 rupees, which indicates a lot of headroom for the growth. The second growth trigger of the company is government initiatives. The government is supporting telecom industry by providing various schemes. The first initiative by the government is PLA scheme. 12,195 crores is contributed to the telecom industry as an appreciation or incentives for the manufacturing of telecom and required related products. The second government initiative is telesector reforms. The government approved structural reforms in the telecom sector on September 15, 2021. Government has permitted 100% FDI investments in the telecom sector under automatic route, subject to safeguards. Earlier it was 49%, later it got revised to 100%. Now moving to the third initiative, which is BharatNet project. It is one of the biggest telecom rural projects in the world, implemented in a phased manner to all Gram Panchayats, approximately 2.5 lakhs panchayats in India. The main objective is to enable access providers like mobile operators, internet service providers, cable TV operators, e-content providers, and to launch various search services such as e-health, e-education, e-governance in rural and remote India. Moving to the fourth initiative, which is run by government, is infrastructure development. The government allocated 14,200 crores for telecom infrastructure rollout in 2021 to 2022, which entails completion of an optical fiber cable based network for defense services, rolling out broadband in 2.2 lakh panchayats and improving services in the northeast. The government has also approved 24,644 crore for an advanced communication network for defense services. The government had also approved 24,664 crore for an advanced communications network for defense services in lieu of their vacating spectrum for mobile telephony in May 2018. The project was to be completed within 24 months. Moving to the last section of the video, which is ESG. ESG stands for Environmental Social Governance. So first let's focus on the environmental section of the company. Telecom networks consume large amounts of electricity generated from fossil fuels, leading to significant carbon emissions and leads to global warming. The industry also generates substantial e-waste, including old phones and equipment, which can release toxic substances like lead and mercury into the environment if not properly disposed. This is how telecommunication sector will impact the environment. So now let's focus on the activities done by the company which are eco-friendly. Over 75% of the VAL's BTS portfolio is outdoor BTS. BTS is already explained in the beginning of the video itself. It helps in reduction of 20% in the energy consumption compared to the indoor BTS. Moving to the next initiative, which is the diesel elimination project initiated by Vodafone Idea to reduce carbon footprints, currently covers 11,700 sites. According to a press release by Vodafone Idea about Green Planet, they mentioned that 100% of the telecom hardware procured by the company is low power consuming telecom hardwares. Moving to the next section of the ESG, which is social. VA Foundation has launched a program with collaboration of Vodafone and Idea to raise awareness among the students about scholarships. There are several scholarships provided by the VA Foundation, namely post-matriculation scholarships, scholarships for college, scholarships for undergraduates, postgraduates, Vodafone scholarships, best minority scholarships, and merit-based scholarships. Let's move on to the third section of the ESG, which is governance. First, let's start with data breach allegations. In August 2022, CyberX9, a cybersecurity firm, reported that Vodafone Idea system had multiple vulnerabilities that exposed the personal data of its customers, including call logs of nearly 301 million people, among them 20.6 million postpaid users, over a span of 2 years. However, Vodafone denied these claims. But CyberX9 has urged the government to look into this issue. And there is another issue of the company. On May 17th of 2023, Vodafone Idea was ordered to pay a penalty of 20 lakhs under Section 43A of IT Act 2000. This is because there has been a surge of cases where duplicate SIM cards have been issued by the telecom service provider without due verification, often leading to unauthorized financial transactions. In this case, a person's SIM card was stopped and the same SIM card was issued to the another person, which led to a loss of 20 lakhs. And coming to the conclusion of Vodafone Idea. Vodafone Idea has been struggling with tough competition, unpaid dues and high debt. This company requires a huge capital in order to survive in this industry. With an increase in customer base and market share, and at the same time with the increase in ARPU of the industry, it may bring the financial stability of the company. But if the company fails to attain enough market share, the future of the company remains unprecedented. We recommend that investors must remain cautious while making any investment decisions in this company. That's a wrap for our deep dive into Vodafone Idea. If you're watching video for the first time, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of our easy to follow stock breakdowns. And if you found this video helpful, please share this to your friends. And for more such insightful content, please like, share and subscribe to Savart. Stay smart, stay cautious. We'll see you in the next video.